All right, Tyler, I'll let you dig in.
Oh, what's going on, guys? I'm pumped to be here. If you guys don't know, my name's Tyler. I am the co-founder of Dippidi. We are a real estate marketing agency. We work with hundreds of clients across the country, whether it's doing stuff for them on Facebook and Instagram, Google, or just consulting, coaching. We do a lot of content ourselves. So through the things that we've learned and experienced, we've now just have a passion to educating the industry at scale, and that's one of my personal passions too. So just really grateful to be here with you guys. I love everything that Katie's doing and her team. She's crushing it. So I'm grateful to be here. So first and foremost, I just maybe in the chat, if you don't mind, just let me know where you guys are all tuning in from. Is everyone from Houston, Katie? I don't think so, right? Others are from across the country. From I know I follow a few of you guys based on the names here, but I see some of your team. I think is that right,
Yeah, so some
Charleston?
of some of our teams on here, and then some people from the brokerage, and then some people that we're just friends with. So
Awesome,
all
awesome, good
over.
stuff, great stuff. Well, yeah, guys. Well, yeah, I'll get right into it. So, one of my biggest things when I do any sort of webinars or trainings or workshops, I really like to get tactical and just make things interactive. So, feel free to jump in, ask questions, give me some feedback. I'm more than happy to stop what I'm doing to go back and forth. But I really wanted to explain our philosophy when it comes to inbound marketing and how we attract business for clients and ourselves through our digital efforts. And I also wanted to share our real estate video marketing playbook that we just released. It's totally free. It's a huge part of the puzzle in how we see agents having success online. So we really put all the best strategies into one PDF ebook. I'm going to really go through that quickly. You guys can download that now or later, but I highly encourage you guys to check that out too. But I'm going to share my screen. So let me just do that real quick. And if you just nod your heads, if you can see my screen, that'd be awesome. Okay, perfect, perfect. All right. So recently, this is here. Let me share this bigger. Well, wrong share. I said share literally, and then I hit the share button. So recently I had the pleasure to host a real estate marketing conference. Dippity Deep Dive is our second annual one, and we had Tom Ferry and Gary Vee on as two of our keynote guest speakers. It was an amazing experience. They shared unbelievable tips and strategies. That's on our YouTube, so you guys can check that out as well. But this was one of the biggest takeaways, me personally, that I got from the entire event. Me being, a fan of, content creating and, Gary and Tom. So it was really cool to ask them a few questions myself and just really hear their perspective. So I wanted to play this for you guys to hear, from Gary's mouth exactly what I think we all need to hear and really ingrain into our minds. So I'll play this real quick. Sorry, guys. I should have had this pulled up already for you.
The biggest disconnect I see in real estate is people get way too comfortable in what's worked and it lulls them to sleep. And they don't have the interest in being in the branding game. They're so transactional, which is required, which I love. What has made me is I love selling and I love branding. I like branding more because branding does selling for you when you're not selling. Nobody here, Dunkin' Donuts didn't call me and say, would you please come to our store this morning? I didn't get a cold call from Dunkin' Donuts this morning saying, would you like some coffee, sir? Right. The biggest disconnect I see in real estate.
So obviously, Dunkin' Donuts, getting coffee, selling a home is a much different transaction. But where he's getting at is the more that you build a brand and you have the digital presence that you attract, you are going to have a long-term success plan with your business. When you're doing the transactional lead buying, when you're doing the bulk purchases from different, sources or lists, it's a rinse and repeat cycle. It's a rat race. So we definitely believe in this inbound marketing philosophy. And this is what Gary has preached forever. You want to educate and inform with value, and through things that you're giving, through things that you are learning and educating and informing your audience on. And then, you have the proper retargeting, the proper strategies in place that you continue that experience for them online. So that's really what this flywheel model is. So I'm sure many of you have seen this, funnel approach where, it's the more old school, model. It's what I've learned, through college and so forth. But this flywheel philosophy is what HubSpot really brought to life. And it's a really emphasis that we coach our clients on, and how we actually generate business for clients online. So you can see the core difference between these levels is when you are attracting, engaging, and delighting, it's a continuous experience. You're always growing and giving your audience different ways to learn and engage with your brand. So the biggest emphasis that we coach clients is retargeting, where you're engaging. So one thing you guys may see Katie doing a lot of like organic social content, which I'm going to get into here, but that's a great way to attract people with no intention other to give them value, whether it's about hyper local things to do, market stuff, personal stuff, even things that people can connect to you on a level that they become fans of you, or they become more, related to your story or your experiences. So the funnel approach is a cycle that you are just continuously going through, and there's no continuous experience where you're building on that one-to-one connection. That's the core difference. You want to always focus on your customers. That's at the core of your business and at the core of your marketing. When you think of your customers' pain points, your customers' experiences, when you talk to them and have that relationship, you uncover things that you can create content around that other people like them will experience or have gone through. So the more that you focus your business around your customers and not so much getting that new person or that new lead, you will see a huge shift in your business. And I'm sure many of you on this call can attest to that. So you probably have done a lot of this lead generating or lead buying, but when you really sit down and focus on your customers and your sphere and give them the best experience in person, but now thinking of it digitally, with remarketing, with video content, with things that matter of value, that's where that perfect, synergy happens. Because right now, what I describe social media as is a mobile highway. So like imagine driving down, your major highways, and there's mobile billboards. That's what social media is. Your news feed is a mobile highway. So you have to think about when you're doing, social media ads or doing remarketing, you want to capture people's attention to turn their head or stop the scroll. So as you're running those ads, it has to matter. It has to give them an experience that they remember you, or you're making them turn off the exit to go down your website or to go down your social or YouTube, wherever you're driving them to. So it's no different, but that's the next phase. Is you want to attract them with organic social content, but then the next big opportunity is remarketing, where you're running ads, people that visited certain pages on your website, or they've gone to your social, or they've watched certain percent of your videos. That's where your ad budget is best spent versus targeting geographically for new people, which is still important. Don't get me wrong. But, if you're trying to have, the best bang for your buck, when you're doing organic social marketing of content value and then remarketing those people with more additional value, just things that show more of the experience for your client, testimonials, or, just things that would help that experience. That's when that remarketing comes into play. Does that make sense so far? Okay. I hope so. A drop in the chat as you guys are tuning in, so I can hear, and just I want to hear any questions that you guys may have, like about the flywheel, what that means. But I'm gonna jump back in here and continue to go through here. So, oh, wrong one. What the heck? I don't know. What did I close out of my thing? Oh, I know what I did. It went to my Instagram, guys, and then I closed out of my Instagram. I apologize. Jump back in here. So as I go through here, what I really want to provide you guys of value on this call is I recently just released our video marketing playbook here. And one thing that I really wanted to give you guys is the list of top agents to follow and the top content ideas that they are doing for success that you guys can do as well. So bear with me here, guys. I apologize for this. So I was right here. Yeah. So the flywheel again is this autonomous way to grow your business where you're attracting content of value, engaging, and delighting those people. That's that final phase that you're, again, remarketing with additional content of value. So that's the core difference between the two. But I'm going to send this link to you guys also, Katie, so you can disperse this to everyone on the call. But I put together a list, and you guys can take a screenshot maybe now or jot these down. But these are agents, including Katie, that are absolutely crushing it when it comes to video content marketing, short form video content or YouTube content, more so social for this list. But all of these people that are on here are examples that you guys can follow. And I can promise you can relate and at least find one or two people on this list that are creating content that you can say, okay, I can do something similar to this, or, that's a great idea or great way to do it. They're doing a lot of creative, insightful, new ways to create content. So just being in the industry and knowing these folks and just being a nerd myself, I just follow all these people, and I want to make sure that you guys have this list, and I'll send this to you guys too. But really, the content that all these people are creating is really the same when it comes to the structure, when it comes to the content pillars. So, of course, when you're distributing it, you have to think about where your personality, like, where does it lie? Are you more, bubbly or fun or vibrant? TikTok, maybe you may be very comfortable with TikTok, but I need you to understand it's important. It's a necessity now. You have to be on there to at least give infotainment. That's the bare bones minimum that you can share that would still get great results. And again, these people on this list are doing a great job of infotainment, as well as just, funny skits, things that as you build up your cadence and your style, you will become better and you will develop, new and better things too. But the bare bones minimum and what we are going to cover here is like the infotainment sort of stuff, things that break down those conversation walls, like, the Jordan and LeBron poster, right? Things that, I'm a Bucks fan, I'm a Kobe fan. There's things that, as you share your experience on social and your social on social, it's mind blowing, I know. But sometimes people think I only have to be business on social. But if you actually just be yourself, be authentic, share your day, share what you're going through to some degree, you will build those connections online. And that's when that transcends to, what do you do? Where do you work? They follow you. They visit your website. They fill out a form. They're in your database. All those things add up and compound. But Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok, and YouTube, those are the core 5 platforms or apps, social mediums, whatever you want to call it, that we really focus our core efforts on right now. So let me just jump right to the content bank. So and I want to leave like 15 minutes, Katie, and maybe you can tell me, is that what you typically do? Like you leave some time at the end for some Q&A?
Yeah, let's
Or
go through the content pillars and kind of ideas there. And then I'm seeing some questions come through. So
Okay.
yeah, I would love for if people have questions either on kind of the 30-day challenge and content or other questions
Okay.
to
Perfect.
address
Yeah,
those for sure.
yeah, I see the chat here. Sorry guys. I see the questions now from Leslie. I'm fairly new, not familiar with remarketing. Can you touch on that a bit? Absolutely. Sharing our day. Would you advise us sharing when bad things happen in a transaction? Great questions. So yeah, I'll leave those for the end as well, because I only have maybe 10 minutes or so to jump through this part. But those are great questions. So I can definitely talk along for that. So I'll think about that for a little bit. So the content idea bank. So for the playbook, again, and we have a challenge here as well, like an actual content calendar. So this is kind of maybe better for you to see first to understand these ideas are all part of a 30-day strategy that you can rinse and repeat month in and month out, not just for 30 days, but these are content pillars. So mind you, it's ways to batch your content, things that are scalable, right? So that you can literally think of 10 or 12 different ideas or things to talk about. What are your 12 favorite places to go in Houston? What are your 12 top tips that you have for home buyers? What are your top 12 tips for sellers? Whatever your niche are, investment properties, all these different things that I'm about to show you. Think of it in a way that you can batch your content into a calendar. And this is the fundamental way. This is how you start that flywheel. Because again, before you do any of the remarketing, Leslie, it's important that you are attracting with your brand and content to get people into your remarketing, experience. So this playbook specifically is more so focused on this attract level. Now, again, of course, you can always run ads, to your database as remarketing, even if it is a video. But a lot of this content that we're going through is a way to attract people that don't know you yet or do follow you, but that you never talked about this stuff yet. But now you're getting them, to just be more of a brand promoter, not just the prospect, not just a client, but you want them to be a brand promoter that's out there shouting you out from the mountaintops. So you do that through the experience you give one-to-one in person, and now also the experience you give on the mobile highway. So that's both of those sides of the coins are essential. So, but yes, the content pillar ideas. So these are 9 different ideas and angles that you can create content around that the top agents like Katie are doing themselves. And if you follow Katie, which I'm sure you do, you'll see she's actually probably doing you're probably doing all of these, Katie. I'm not sure if I've actually seen you do a testimonial before. I'm sure you have, though, but I've seen you do market updates. I've seen you do predictions. I've seen you do upcoming events, best things to do, favorite places to go around the town. So all these ideas, you can think of your own personal preferences. We're all different. So, use, use these other people as, just ways to think of what to create and then relate it back to you in a way that educates and informs or entertains your audience and people that you want to work with. So around the town, neighborhoods, can you guys see this, or do you want me to zoom in a little bit? I can't zoom in.
I think it's
But
good.
yeah. Okay. So yeah, around the town, neighborhoods, educate, FAQ, frequently asked questions, right? So anytime that you guys are on your calls and you're getting questions asked to you routinely, jot those down every single week. Jot the top question or top 3 questions that you've received every week or every day. And that's content. That is literally a piece of content that you can go on video and create that would educate more people that are probably asking that same question, get in front of it. Best places to go, top things to do, your favorite restaurants, favorite movies, favorite books, favorite places to travel. All those things are important to connect with people. So while you may not quite understand the importance of that yet, if you don't do it, once you stay consistent with it, you will see people reach out. You'll see people talk to you, even if they're not doing it online. When you see them at the grocery store, or you see them at the game, you'll be surprised people are watching you create this content. They're seeing you, whether you know it or not. So I know I'm rambling here, but the market update, testimonials, these are things, partner shout out. These are things that you'll get when we send you this as well, so you can really dive deeper into it. But these are 9 different pillar content ideas or angles for you to create consistent content around, and then put it into a calendar. Actually put it into something that you can rinse and repeat, you can put into action and actually do and stay consistent with. That's the core difference. Is people start, but it's a matter of staying consistent, just like going to the gym. It's no different than being healthy and active, and just living a healthy lifestyle. It's no different with your marketing and brand. You want to have your brand be healthy. So it takes.
Question, Tyler, sorry to interrupt, but the calendar is mainly for social media. I would say not so much YouTube, but I guess there could be some YouTube components to it, but I wouldn't say that you're posting a YouTube video every day. That would just be insane.
Absolutely.
But with this calendar, you're talking about like your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Instagram, your what's it called? TikTok.
Yep.
Those would all be daily
Yes.
places for this type of rotating content, correct?
Yes, absolutely right. Yep, that you're absolutely right. This is specifically for social media, short form video. So, no more than 60 seconds. Now, granted, you can make an IGTV. You can go live with one of these. I'm not trying to say you can even make a YouTube video for one of these, but yes, the intention for this is to be posting one short form video per day, but not creating one per day. So the big difference is batching your content. So you actually do this, because if you think of this as a one video per day thing, it's tough. It's tough until you get to a point that it's like ingrained in your schedule. It's important that you sit down on a Monday or Tuesday or whenever you're slower and create 3 or 4 of those videos about your favorite places to go, or 3 of those frequently asked questions each week, versus doing it every single day. But to answer your question, yes, this is specifically for social media. So this is just for these 4 platforms. And what we meant here, though, and this is a key thing too to note, when you make these videos, even though they're meant for social, if you want to still make a version that you put on YouTube privately on just the private playlist, because some of these tips that you're giving are very valuable, so sometimes maybe you want them to be, very easily, accessible. You can just send a link out to instead of your Instagram, like I did. And then you had to wait for it to load, and it just isn't as clean versus a quick link. So sometimes you can still, host that video, but not, have it public.
I do have one last question though about that calendar. So these are all great ideas for content for social media. How should we be presenting it in relation to the brand that we want to create? That's really the meat and potatoes of what I want to get to. And you may get into it later, but
that's a great question. Nope, you actually literally went right into my next slide. So that was amazing. So yes, so the biggest thing that you guys need to think about is your avatar, your client as an avatar. And I know it kind of sounds weird, but think of the who, what, when, where, why. Those 5 core questions: where they like to go, what they like to do, who they like to engage with online, like what kind of content, like all those core questions that you can dive into the mindset of your audience, or your client. Think of the top 3 clients that you have worked with, write them down and actually think of them like maybe in a way that you haven't really yet, like very deeply, like what are the similarities between these 3 or 5, or maybe you have 10 of your top clients. I guarantee you there's trends, or if there's not, there's an ideal client that you want to work with. And usually it's people like you. It's people that have similar interests or hobbies or passions. So if you don't have a book of business yet, then that's where you start. You start about what matters to you, and people will who you can attract through that. And the other way is shifting that a little bit to maybe you do a little bit of you, but also you go into your client avatar and what they like where do they enjoy going to eat, where do they enjoy what do they enjoy consuming online or going to the movies, or there's different things that matter to your audience. So just thinking of it in that light, and creating your brand around that content. Every brand's different, so I would ask you a few questions, almost like do you know kind of your typical client base? Like, do you know who you're going after? Is it luxury? Is it kind of, do you have like those sort of questions answered already? Or are you thinking like more like a rebrand kind of?
No, I have those questions answered already. I know who my target audience is and
Okay.
and where their price point usually is as well.
That's great. Yeah. So yeah, those are great things to know. So like thinking of, what could $500,000 buy you in downtown Houston? What those questions, like maybe even asking them, literally ask your people, what are the 3 top questions you have right now? How can I help you? And I guarantee you will get amazing content ideas just from that alone. I might actually do that myself. I've never done that. But literally asking our clients, like, what are you wanting to learn about? What's on your mind? The other thing you can always do is doing like Google News and doing like Google Analytics to kind of see, or sorry, Google Trends to see what people are searching. But yeah, I would say, it sounds like you have a good idea of like your target market. So I would just lean into thinking of where they like to go, what they like to do, what are they interested in, what areas, what places in town, but not so much like about you. You want to give them value. Donald Miller talks about it being the guide, not the hero. You don't want to be the hero of your marketing. You want your clients to be the hero. So that's definitely something to note. But yeah, that's a very important question, and thinking of it as your client avatar, and that's who you want to spend your time attracting, people like that 1 or 2 type of clients, if that makes sense. So did I answer your question?
Yes and no. I have something that I'll ask at the end because
Okay. Yeah, ask away. I'm definitely ready. Okay. So yeah, Katie, if you want to open up all the questions, I'm definitely down for that. That's all that I really had, was just more so I really wanted to show the difference between, the inbound flywheel. It's about that continuous experience where you're attracting, engaging, then delighting your audience. And there's no better way to do that than doing it on social right now at scale. Now, I'm not sitting here saying, don't do all these other efforts like email marketing and Google and YouTube. But when it comes to the eyeballs and what people are doing in their spare time, and we can, attest to this, I'm either Googling, I'm either on social, or I'm on YouTube. Those are the 3 things I'm doing digitally. I might be doing some other stuff, but it's just, those are the 3 major platforms that people are spending their time on. So I just think it's important that you focus your efforts for your brand to be there too. So, all right. So Katie, do you mind asking me the questions? Because
Yeah, I'd say, if do you want to unshare your screen, and
Yes.
then we can go through some of the questions that are in the chat, and then we'll if y'all have any other questions in regards to the 30-day challenge. So that calendar that Tyler shared is in the ebook that I had dropped in the chat, where you can download it off of the Dippidi website. The 30-day challenge is a great way to force yourself into posting something every day. As he said, it's difficult to say like, okay, I'm going to shoot a video every single day, because like really like being like, all right, I'm going to open up my phone and like shoot something, even if it's just 30 seconds, is difficult, right? So it's something where you would say, okay, on Sunday, I'm going to shoot videos at about the top 5 questions I've gotten over the past month, or the top whatever, right? So I would recommend downloading that to use as a framework for posting on social. As far as questions, in regards to sharing your day, advising sharing when bad things happen to a client.
Yes.
You want to take that?
Yes. Yeah. So that question, I highly encourage that, because going through the, not just the amazing moments or the fluffy moments, you definitely have, the great conversations that way, but you have even, I would argue, even more relatable, feedback or conversations when people can relate to negative situations almost. As I don't want to sound dark or anything, but when you share that vulnerable side of you, or just the things where you do mess up, not only do you break that wall, you become more relatable and you start those conversations. So I would definitely say share the negative. I'm going to go too into depth about the, what happened, of course, but if you're showing what you do and the sweat behind why you do it, I think that's important. But you don't want to do it in a light that you're, shaming the industry or, doing things of that nature, of course. But I think it is important, to explain, your day, not just the great moments, but also the things that are, that you're going through.
Yeah, I think sometimes sharing challenges is good, right? And sharing, how you got to it. I think too many real estate agents are just, if you go to their feeds, it's just listed, just sold, just sold, just sold, just sold. I'm like, one, people know nothing about you. And two, does anyone really care? Right. So if you're talking about listing a home or selling a home, I think that it's important to highlight the story behind it and what the seller did to prepare their home. Maybe it didn't appraise, maybe it fell out of contract, maybe these things happen. Because I think too many people just share, just sold, just sold, just sold, and make it look easy because it sold in a day. But there were so many things that led to that moment, to it selling in a day, right? The seller preparing the home, you doing an open house, you calling around the neighborhood, you doing all of these things. So really, I think that sharing when bad things happen, or sharing, the problem and then your solution, is super important for sure.
There's people that are on that list. I'm sorry, I'm trying to see who asked that. There's someone on that. There's Bob Tompkins on that list, Ed Stulak, the broke agent, Matt Leonetti. I know there's a few people on that list that actually make video content that's funny content around situations that happen that are negative, like the appraisal didn't come through, or the seller's dad did some stuff that ruined the deal, or there's definitely funny ways to showcase those negative situations, not to get like, you don't have to shed a tear from the content, but make it funny actually. And so there's examples of people on that list that actually do that exact thing, that now that I think about it.
I feel like retargeting is like, we can talk about the concept. I think that, like, not to make this a sales pitch, but like if learning how to retarget is something that you want to do, or if engaging in that, it may make sense for you to talk to someone like Tyler about, assisting with that. The basis of retargeting is, first, you have to have content that you're putting out there, both video and photo and things like that, on Facebook and Instagram and other sites. Tyler, do you want to dig into retargeting a little bit?
Yes, yeah. So retargeting is basically, it's almost like when you're going fishing and you know kind of like where the areas where the fish are, in a sense, because you've done the prep work, like you kind of have done the research, or you've been there before, or it's just once you know kind of, or that pond is big enough and you're captured in it, then you reap the benefit. But it's when people engage with your content. There's different custom audiences that you can create in Facebook and Instagram that are based on activity. It can get very deep, but I won't go so deep here. But so there's like a customer file list, right? So anyone in your database, you can import into Facebook and Instagram and run as ads that you can create all different kinds of ads, but they're based on remarketing your database. People that have already, you've done some lead gen, or they're in your database, your sphere. There's other custom audiences like website traffic. So anyone that goes to your website, anyone that goes to a certain landing page or a seller page or a case study or your schedule page, there's different funnels, if you will, or flywheels that you can create experiences around based on activity on your website. Same thing with social media. Anyone that goes to your Instagram or your Facebook, they take certain actions, whether it be on your entire account or certain ads, certain posts. You can create additional ads and experiences that connect that experience ongoing. So a great example that maybe a little bit easier would be like a Google ad, right? So imagine if you run a Google PPC campaign that you spend, some money behind. You're driving, say 1,000 people to your website every single month, and you get 100 leads. But there's 900 people that are going to that door, but they're not opening the door. They're just going to it. They realize it's locked and they're out. But those 900 people, you have an opportunity to run remarketing ads for 6 months to continue that experience. So hopefully they open that door, because maybe they just something didn't, they weren't expecting the landing page, or they just weren't ready to do that. But the fact that they clicked that Google ad, they've shown some intent. They went to it. So there's a reason why they did it. So that's when social remarketing comes into place. For the next 180 days, you can run an ad that shows another experience, and maybe it shows a testimonial, or it shows more homes like the home that they just try to register for. But now they're on social at the end of the night with their kids and their wife or husband, and they're just scrolling and they see the additional homes that they wanted to look at. And they're like, oh man, okay, now I'm free. Now I can actually do it. So it's just a way to continue that experience, and it's more like a safety net almost. But if you're doing Google ads, it definitely makes sense to do social remarketing. If you have a big brand, like if you're doing organic content, it absolutely makes sense to do social marketing, or social media advertising, remarketing. So all those things are important. But like Katie said, you have to at least have a basis to start before you do remarketing. You have to do some sort of geographical targeting, some sort of brand building, some sort of efforts to get an audience to remarket, if that makes sense. Hopefully,
What advice would you give on making your client be the hero in social media?
So the advice that I would give would be thinking like literally what I suggested, I think would be the best starting point. When you sit down, you think of your top 5 to 10 clients. You think of not only the experiences that you may know that they went through, but if you actually ask them, what are the 3 reasons why you chose me? Why did you, what experience did you go through? And even asking, existing people, I think it's important that you understand nobody cares how much experience you have. Nobody cares about anything other than how you're going to help them in that moment. So the more that you think and really listen, that's the biggest thing, is listening to your people, and then thinking of that that answer or that question as content. Okay, they asked that. Dang, that's a really good question. Why don't I make a video about that? That's one of my frequently asked questions for the week of my 30-day playbook. But like if you sit down there and even shoot out a question to your top clients and ask them, what are your top 3 questions right now? Also, those are things. But thinking even yourself, when you are engaging with content online or social or just experiencing a brand, we always want the value that we are getting. So, when you position it as you're helping your clients, you're giving the best experience, you're just helping them, you're just the guide. That's where that switch flips for your audience versus like more of an ego driven, park bench advertisement. It's just those days are just, it feels different now. People, we're engaging with content differently. You have to have that experience. So if you don't follow Donald Miller, I definitely encourage you to do so. He has a whole book around, being the guide, not the hero. So it's an amazing book. Let me see. There's more questions here, Katie. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, sorry, I was pulling up the building a story brand.
Okay, sorry. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, so how would you share that? As far as Anna, to go back to like how you would share like the story of a transaction or like a problem and a solution, I would do a video. You can obviously do it. Someone who, and I don't know if you would feature them or not, but Krista Farr and Aaron Farr out in the Washington area, they fargroup.nw, they do this a lot when they share just listed, just sold. It is just a picture a lot of times, but then they have a story in the caption. I think that that's great, but I would say the next level of doing that would be to turn the phone around, standing outside of the house. Hey guys, just sold 123 Main Street, just closed this afternoon. And man, these are the things that happened. And this is how we worked through it. Or even if it's just talking about how the seller prepared the home or whatever, you can just shoot that video and then post it as an IGTV or a post on your feed. You can also put it in your story as well. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a few people on that list, Leslie. I was looking at Leslie's question about going through the tough situations. Also, there's a few people on that list. Ed Stulak on Instagram, he definitely does that. So and there's a few women on there too. I think Tamika does it, Katie. Yeah. So I think it's very important. Anna asked, how would you share that in stories?
Yeah, that's what I was just talking about.
Yeah, definitely reels. I say would be the most important. Reels and TikTok. Share and then resharing that to stories. Let's see. So Rebecca asked a question. I'm struggling with branding. I've got a real group. I'm gonna get back to that. I forget my avatar family is relocating in the area. I'm gonna get back to that one, Rebecca. Maybe I can email you, Rebecca, because I have some deeper thoughts around that. So if you actually email me, Rebecca, Tyler@Dippidi.com, just shoot me an email, and I can I'll even jump on a call with you. I'm happy to do that. Not a problem. Let's see if there's any more questions. I don't think there's any more right now. So did you have any more questions for me, Katie, or did you guys have any more? Feel free to drop them in here. See, otherwise, the other option, you guys can always reach out to me. Yeah, hit me up on Dippidi. Really, the best way to reach out to me would be Instagram, probably. Just go to my Instagram, Tyler, T_Auerbacher. But otherwise, if you go to Dippidi.com, it's just here. I'll share my screen so you guys can see it. We have everything on our website, so we're pretty, like, all of our services and stuff are here. If you guys want to see what we do, you can reach out to us. Like, we have a Calendly link right there. But yeah, Best way to describe it is we are just the nerd herd, if you will. The people who are kind of behind our clients that help them just take this off their plate, so you guys don't have to do it as much. Like there's the remarketing side of it is a whole different, forest. The social media, short form video content marketing to attract, that's something that's coachable. That's something that everybody can do. It's just it's a mental thing to get through, and then a consistent roadmap to have in a strategy. Once you have that, then you'll have success to attract people to your brand. And that's what we do. We just do the remarketing side, most of it, like the ads, but yeah.
Awesome,
Yeah,
Tyler.
guys. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Thank you so much. Yeah, if you guys don't already follow Tyler on Instagram, hop over and follow him. He definitely puts out a lot of great information on tips for content and putting out more video and things like that. We've got about a week and a half until October. So, if you guys have been struggling with content in any way, I think that the 30-day challenge would be a great challenge to employ in the month of October. And basically, you have now a week and a half to kind of figure out what type of content you want to put out, and start to prepare some of that, right? So if that's going to your favorite restaurant or going to, your favorite parks or whatever that may be, starting to get that content so that you can start to put it out on a regular basis. But we're close to the start of a new month, so it's always a good time to do things like that.
I love it too, because like for me, I'm a big basketball fan, clearly. So it's like the fourth quarter is about to start. Really, October is Q4. So if anything, you guys, this video playbook, just having the 30-day plan would be great for you guys to at least start. And then you have, like Katie said, you at least have a week to think about this stuff and batch some stuff before. But yeah, we just wanted to make that for the industry at large. And I think we've gotten I know we've gotten some good feedback from it. And I think people are executing, but the ones that are like really Katie's team, you guys are doing a great job with it from what I've seen. So the people that are doing it, from what I'm hearing, are having success. So it's definitely exciting, but it takes some work. It takes time and consistent effort. So if you guys have any questions around it, I'm always here. You can always reach out to me on IG or LinkedIn, anywhere. So.
All right, Tyler. Well, thank you for your time.
Absolutely, Katie. It's a pleasure. You guys have a great rest of your week and crush it. Oh, my IG handle. I'll drop it in here so you guys have it. Sorry, Rebecca. Yeah, I know I don't have the easiest name. So I thought about changing that before, but I was like, oh well. Okay. Oh, thank you, Katie. You dropped the full link. All right, guys. Well, y'all have a great day. We'll talk soon.